What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the house. I was scratching my head wondering how Konami was going to put almost every card reprinted in a single year between Battles of Legends, Shadows, and Valhalla and the Megatins, and how they would keep value to past product. Well, it does seem ratios are going to be a big factor in this year's Megatins, and this information actually comes from Junk's Playground. If you guys want to put a face to the name, this is someone who has grinded their way up into the community from the game they love and made it a store. That's why I highly trust this information. And there's this whole topic on, oh, vendors are making up numbers so the chase cards become higher priced. Quantity and supply slash demand ultimately determine the market, no matter how much money vendors can try to pump into it or hype they can try to generate. And to put the face to the name here, Benedict Junk came over to the USA and got third place at the 150th YCS. His profile's actually on my channel, one of my biggest early videos in a sense. This man is a competitor who grinded his way up into the vendor slot. So I don't think he has any intentional purpose of showing off his cases, because there's going to be so many people. You don't understand. The Megatins are the most open product of the year that are going to open huge amounts of these cases. 50, 75, 150, 200 plus. There's going to be so many of these opened that it is actually insane. The most open product of the year in a sense. So we're about to get into the ratios here, but I just want to discuss that kind of conspiracy theory that the vendors are all getting together. Well, Konami's also said there's no short prints, and look at the secret forces. They made a statement, I think, specifically on that. How many Valks were you all pulling? How many Bryonics? They made the statement on Kaiba's collection and took it back a day later. How many Ultra Ash Blossoms were you pulling? Yes, there's going to be single cases with just the best of luck, especially in this, because maybe even to deny the information, I don't know what happened in printing. I'm being told that certain cases will pull like 3, 4 Borreloads, and then there will be 6 cases without. It's actually nuts how the pull rate might end up being out of individual products. So if you're a gambling man, you really enjoy that rush, you can run into really good cases of this product. And then there's going to be cases that naturally just have 2 of certain chase cards in this sense because of the natural math. Let's just get into the math and show you guys the numbers, shall we? We start with Inspector Border. He's at about 1 per case, a little bit over, because this is near 75 cases. It's missing 110. So we'll call it 75 cases. You're gonna hit over into 2 in certain cases. Now with Lumina, almost every single case will have 2, and that's the kind of different ratios we see here. Off the bat, almost all of them fit into these 2 lineups of either being almost 2 per case or just over 1 per case. Rescue Ferret hitting the over 1 per case, Mech Knights both hitting into almost 2, and I'm really glad with this one actually. I'm a Mech Knight Invoked player online, and I finally get the deck all together in person for relatively cheap. I'm happy with the move, and you need 3 of these things, so seeing a higher ratio on this does make me happy, along with Master Cerberus, a card that some people were excited for to get reprinted here. Now here's the big oof. Borreload and Firewall Dragon are about 1 per case, and if we go down here, I believe we see Saryuja hits actually almost the lowest number of all cards pulled, barely, and then we also see Evenly Matched hit that 1 per. So my thoughts on Boral and Firewall Dragon. Last year after the Megatins, they reprinted so many things out of the Megatins straight after. Dimensional Barrier, Cosmic Cyclone, all these things. I think their Alter Arts are coming somewhat soon, so don't cry over this too much, but at the same time, I think Borreload's price is going to stay up for a bit. I'm not as sure about Firewall, as it's been under Borreload for a while. I don't know what it's going to really rest at, but I feel like this makes Borreload still the second most wanted card out of the 10, because you're searching for 3 evenly matched, and at only over 1 per case, barely. It's crazy. Now, look at this number, 88. That means 12 cases in general had 2 per case. But at the same time, like I said, there's these weird pull rates where you'll see 0, and then you'll see like 4. It's really insane from what I understand. Heavy Metal Foes Electromite hits that low point. Ningirsu hits the high. Topologic Bomber hitting the low. Chimera in this weird middle zone. We got Supreme King Z-Arc in the high pull rate. Not again. if you remember the Maximum Crisis. Dragonic Diagram at 92. This is good that it's shorter because we already see it in Battles of Legend, and it's getting a secondary reprint, so I'm fine with it being lower. But at one point being, you know, an $80+ card on release, I'm glad to see it get 2 reprints into the ground. Hey Trunade, is this actually the lowest card at 83? That's pretty crazy. Hey, that's pretty good. Overdone Burial is, again, towards that middle almost. Pendulum Paradox we see at around the 140 pulled. Quick Launch 140, Squib Draw 140, Ultra Poly at 88. Fuse Line 138, Vendread Origin 143. So what do I think about this? How do I feel about this? I feel like the fluff cards that have been intentionally put in here, because in years past, we went at 15 secret rares and then 15 secret rares, and we led the information with, oh, look, we got evenly matched, we got Borreloads, we got Firewalls, these tins are gonna be crazy. Like, that initial rush of information put the best foot forward, and then it turns out there's 24 different secrets, and now it turns out the fluff cards are your higher pull rates throughout this entire product. I'm not a fan, but at the same time, I was raising the question, how is Konami going to retain value of older product while pushing this newer product? Now, 1 per case-ish average of something like Saryuja, or 1 per case of something like Borreload. 12 tins, this is a different product, right? A case is $240, meaning versus a regular box product, we're going to be talking about 3 cases. So we're looking at around, you know, 3 to 4 Borreloads pulled out of like a regular case versus this being almost the same. So how much will it cool the price? It's almost like we're re-releasing that product, but this is going to be opened much, much more. I really don't know how much this will affect the one-of, such as Boral, Firewall, Saryuja. But speaking for evenly matched, I think it fell very fast comparatively. And I think we look at it the other day. We still see prices slow dripping. But this was down to $25 yesterday. Actually, let me pull up the Market Watch look for you guys. This was down to $25 yesterday, and people kind of rushed towards it. And I just showed the actual, like, what you should be pulling is 1.5 per case, in a sense. So you should be pulling, what is that, 4.5 on average per 3 cases of each card, but with shorter prints, and it now seeming that, hey, it's evenly matched. Hey, it's Borreload. We're already seeing a huge wallop to the market of, hey, you could have got these for 25 yesterday. It's already speaking. People are already going. And that's why people think that this information is used for hype, in a sense. It's used to get people to go out and buy things. And you see an actual impact from the release of a Facebook post before it's even been put in, like, a Market Watch or a video by me. You already see the ground and pound. But Junk's Playground, like I said, this is somebody who doesn't have that interest, in my opinion. Somebody who has been part of the community. So I don't personally see that coming from them. A lot of you look at the bigger names like even the ones above me, Troll and Toad and Yu-Gi-Oh! Singles, and think they have that interest. But I've been to Troll, down home Kentucky boys, Yu-Gi-Oh! Singles. They've given back more to the community than I think anybody through the Zodiac tournaments, the giveaways on my streams. Like, these people, to me, I present that information because I think it's real. But here you have a YCS competitor really grinded their way up from a store, also putting out numbers, and it's going around. I personally take them at face value. I understand that people do think there's this kind of network, and that's fine. It's good to be woke. It's good to think for yourself and look out for information, but there's definitely, with this product more than any other, going to be case openings where people do really well, and then a ton where people do really bad. I've actually been messaged by a couple people who've done 3 cases and said they did real bad. So I've also seen comments already around that they did real good. We saw so many evenly matched during the initial just pack openings. It looked like evenly matched was going to be so easy to get, yet here we see the math that it is different. And I think over time, you guys will see that it will even out to something similar to this, where we have 2 different pull rates, one being kind of towards 1 per case, and a bunch of them more towards 2. And unfortunately, it's the fluff cards besides the Mech Knights. good move on this. The rest, ugh. And speaking of these guys, we got like Saryuja, Borreload, etc. I think Borreload and Firewall here aren't going to see reprints in the legendary decks. I see some people talking about that. I think the more likely, if not hit on a ban list somehow, is Isolde. I think Isolde will see itself into the hero deck, mayhaps, as one of the only missing reprints out of these sets. So we'll continue to look forward. Junk's Playground also says they'll have ratios for the ultra rares later, as well as commons that are really interesting pull rates, but I'm sure counting the commons and sorting the commons, that's really insane work. So the ultras should be up later. I'll link them down below for you guys to keep up. But what do you think of this information? And what makes you question something like this? Do you think that somebody like this has that specific interest where the other bigger stores might? I don't think they all get together. And again, I believe this is Europe pulls, Europe ratios. So sometimes, once in a blue moon these days, USA does get different pulls, like in Legendary Collection Kaiba, but we had some of the worst shorter prints there across the board. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the conversation, please give it a thumbs up, and let me know what you do think. I really do want to hear your thoughts, and subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate ya.